Hi guys, it's Misty. I have something a little different to share with you this week. The theme at Always Fun Challenges this week is anything but a card. So I chose to make a couple bookmarks. I've been wanting to make some bookmarks for a while now. I just, haven't made the time to do it. So this was the perfect opportunity to do just that. So I'm using a die set from Concord and Ninth. It's called Bags and Tags, and I love this die. It's pretty creative. So there's a couple different tops, a couple different bottoms, like you see here, and then you can choose whichever size you want to make it. I chose to do it about 6 inches since it is a bookmark, but you could put, you could put the top and bottom together and make a tiny little tag too. Um, I thought that was pretty crafty. Normally you get a die and it's the size of the tag and that's just the size you get. So I thought this was a great idea to be able to, choose whichever size you wanted to make it. I actually made 3 of them and it worked out kind of perfectly because I wanted to have a couple or a few and I also wanted to try to do a galaxy background, and since I was going to be using distress inks, I wanted to use the distress cardstock from Tim Holtz. But then I also wanted to do one on some Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock. So this kind of gave me the opportunity to try. It was going to just be 2, but then I kind of I got ahead of myself and started ink blending before I heat embossed the sentiments. So I had to start that one over. But what I did is I just flipped it over and used the textured side of the distress cardstock. And then I did the one on the 110-pound Neenah Solar White. And then I also did another one back on the distress cardstock with the smooth side. I didn't really like the way it turned out on the textured side, but I'll show you all of them at the end here. So I almost did it again. I almost started ink blending before I had my sentiment heat embossed. So I luckily didn't put the ink on the paper yet, but the sentiment is from Unity Stamp Company and it's called Delightful Little Things. And I just thought it was a perfect sentiment to go with a starry galaxy type background. So I'm just using white embossing powder. I think it's the super fine kind. Oh yeah, see Ranger super fine. And this one is the Distress Watercolor cardstock on the smooth side. So I just wanted to see, side by side what the difference was. If I used my regular cardstock or if I, use the Distress cardstock. It's actually pretty similar on the smooth side, but the texture side, it was quite a bit different. All right, so I'm going to add some mustard seed and then I'll go into picked raspberry. And then I use seedless preserves, but I really could have done without either the seedless preserves or the picked raspberry. And I'm speeding it up quite a bit here, but it's such a little area that there wasn't really enough room for that many colors. If I were to make these again, I would drop one of those 2 colors. It just wasn't necessary to have both. So anyway, I plugged along with these colors, and I guess this isn't really a masculine card. It's the sentiment, makes it can go either way, I think. But I was trying to do more of a not masculine, but for a boy. I have a son, and his best friend Bubby is always here, so that's who I had in mind when I made these. The sentiment says, "I will love the light, for it shows me the way. Yet I will endure the darkness because it shows me the stars." And I mean, yeah, like I said, I just thought it was a perfect sentiment to put on a galaxy background. So after the seedless preserves, I added some chipped sapphire. Definitely needed some dark blue. And then the last color I'm going to put on is some black soot. And The black soot I mainly just did around the edges. And then I went inwards a little bit with it, but not too much. I didn't want it to be too dark. And a couple times along the way, I made myself really nervous because I thought I ruined it. Like right here with this black, I thought I put too much down at the bottom there, but it worked out. It all blended out and it looked fine, but I was nervous a couple times. That black, I mean, it's black, you know, once it's there, it's permanent. All right, so now I'm just going to add some water droplets, and I didn't want big droplets. I was trying to get small ones, which is kind of why I flicked it off to the side first, but I did get a couple big ones, but it's fine. I like the way it turned out. And then before I move on to the star part with the picket fence, I'm going to take just a cloth that, like I just did, and wipe off the sentiment, which was heat embossed. Anytime I add color over where I heat embossed it, I always take a cloth and wipe it off because it brightens it back up. So, you know, now you can see that white is nice and bright and white again. So I'm going to take some picket fence to do the stars. And this is the first time I had ever done it with a toothbrush, but I loved this technique. It was really fun. It, you know, I don't know, it worked perfect. Just flicking it with the picket fence, it made it all different sizes. It went everywhere. And I thought it was a really fun, different way to add the stars. Now I'm also going to add some water and do how I normally do it and flick it on with a paintbrush, which just gives it a different look. So I love having both of those on there. I can't believe I've never done the the toothbrush thing before. Then I quickly ran my heat gun over it just to dry it before I moved on. I didn't want to smear it at this point. But yeah, between the water droplets and the toothbrush and the paintbrush, I think, you know, there's a lot of variety there. So it looks more realistic. So this is the 110-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock, and I kept this in here just because I wanted to show you how bright those colors were. You know, it's not distress paper, so I've done it before on regular cardstock, but not side by side like this. So it was cool to see them, you know, side by side, how the same process affected the paper differently, or affected the color differently. So I was impressed with it on this regular cardstock. I liked how bright the colors were. So just doing the same process with the toothbrush and then splattering it on after I add some water with a paintbrush. And I thought about laminating it, and if I had done it on the 80-pound cardstock, I don't know, maybe I would have laminated it, but that's why I wanted to do it on thicker paper so that I didn't have to do that. Yeah, it went everywhere, all over my coffee cup too. But it was worth it because it turned out so cool. So here they are side by side. The one on the left is the distress cardstock, and then the one on the right is the 110-pound Neenah Solar White. So pretty comparable, I thought. And then the one on the far right is the distress watercolor on the textured side. So see how it's kind of, it's not as bright as the other two. So that was my least favorite out of the three. I'm just going to add some black cardstock onto the back of these so you don't see the, you know, the white on the back. And I just ran the part that I already did through the machine again, so that way I could line up the die exactly where I needed it. Because if you move the die around the edges, you'll kind of feel where it goes, where it wants to go. And so I just ran it through on top of the black paper so that way it was the perfect size. Because I didn't really have an exact measurement of how tall I did these, so, or how long, I guess is a better way to say it. And for the back, I thought it would be fun to either heat emboss a message or even use one of those, metallic pins that they make specifically for dark colored paper and write a message to on the back to whoever this is going to. And I don't know if I girlied this up too much with this right here, this part, but I could always take it off. I added some ribbon and then I took some twine and made a little bow. And I had a heck of a time getting this bow straight, but after like 5 minutes, I finally got it where I wanted it. And then I just take one of these little glue dots and put it on. Usually if I do a bow on a card, I'll take a glue dot and put it on the back of the bow so it doesn't come untied. And so that's what I did here. Just took a little glue dot and put it right behind the bow. And that's it. My bookmark is now complete. I hope you'll check out the Always Fun Challenges blog. I'll have a link to it in the description below. It's open to anyone who wants to participate. There's a new theme every week, and it's a lot of fun. Even if you don't want to participate, you can head over and just check out all the beautiful entries we have each week, or just to see what the other design team members have created. Anyway, I'll also have links to all the products I used below, and as always, you can head over to my blog for more information. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.